Welcome to Mysterious Folklore UK, where today we are looking at the legends of Salford.
Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting. In every shadow there's a story, in every whisper a warning. Welcome to Mysterious Lore, where legends come alive and the line between myth and reality fades. The White Lady.
Hidden in the heart of Salford stands Ordsall Hall, a Tudor manor house with over 750 years of history. Its timber-frame walls have witnessed feasts, political intrigue and family drama, but amongst its stories, one ghostly figure continues to haunt the imagination. The White Lady of Ordsall Hall. Visitors and staff alike claim to have seen her, a spectral woman dressed in white, drifting silently through the halls. Some say she appears most often in the Star Chamber, where the air suddenly chills, and the overwhelming sense of sorrow fills the room. Others say she's in the corridors with a candle. But who is the White Lady? History offers several possible identities. One theory points to Margaret Radcliffe, a noble woman with deep ties in Ordsall. In 1599, she was devastated by the death of her twin brother Alexander. Her grief consumed her, and she died shortly afterwards. Many believe her restless spirit lingers here, eternally mourning her loss. Others suggest that she was a jilted bride left at the altar of the nearby church, waiting for her husband. Stricken with grief, she couldn't take it, and came and jumped off the Great Hall to her untimely demise. The third rumoured choice that the White Lady could be would be Viviana Radcliffe, who was known to be in love with the infamous Guy Fawkes while he was up planning the gunpowder plot in Ordsall Hall. Who do you think it could be? Do you have any experiences of seeing the White Lady at Ordsall Hall? Give us a comment and let us know your thoughts.
The hanging on the moors.
So here we are at the top of the hill at Kersal Moor in Salford. This moorland has quite a few stories of ghosts and spirits, and even a naked matchmaking bike ride from the 1700s, which is a different story. So let's get on to the one that we're here for. In 1787, a well-known Irishman called John McNamara was living in Hideaway in Manchester in England. He was previously charged with political offences, living as a criminal over in North Manchester. He had a gang of robbers who was caught stealing from a wealthy Cheetham house. This theft consisted of 2 handkerchiefs, 3 waistcoats and £8 in cash. is probably the equivalent of £1,100 in today's money in 2025. So it's a sufficient enough figure to condemn him, and there was a determination to make an example out of him after him hiding from persecution for so long in Ireland. On the day of the hanging, there was quite a large crowd assembled from earlier in the day. Families even came with picnics and were ready to hold their children up so they could see everything going on. It was quite a big event for the area. It was intended to deter burglaries, but it was quite the opposite, with rumours of pickpockets enjoying the vast crowd to work their trade with. So I'm now sat here on these two benches, which is the actual site of the gallows that John McNamara was hung on. He arrived from the New Bailey, sat on his own coffin, and then had to walk up the top of the sandy hill here, where he was put on the gallows and hung. It is rumoured that he can still be seen walking up the hill to his death and across the moors.
The frozen woman.
So, in Pendlebury now in Salford, and this is a story of a frozen body. In 1814 there was a local owner of a mill. It was the Lowry Mill that's in that direction, and he was on his way to work one morning and he was walking along the River Railwell. He'd come across this body, and the body was a 20-year-old woman who had gotten missing 2 months earlier. When they found her, she was encased in ice, completely frozen, and looked like she'd just gone to sleep. They were saying she was at perfect rest. So the mystery remains what happened to her and how she ended up in the water. But 200 years later, and they're still asking the questions. Was she jumping in out of shame for cheating, or was there something more sinister at play?
Of the mysterious skull.
This is the story of a mysterious skull in Woodley Hall. Unfortunately, this is as close as we can get to it, due to the fact that it's still in use as the home of the Diocese of Salford, and the Bishop of Salford lives in here. It's all private land. At the bottom of the main staircase in Woodley Hall, there is a crevice. In this crevice is a glass box. In this box is a human skull. The skull in question is of a Father Ambrose Barlow, who, in 1641, was preaching the Catholic faith in a time when doing so was punishable by death. Unfortunately, his preachings were not secret for long, and in Easter 1641, in the middle of his Easter sermon, Father Ambrose Barlow was arrested and beaten. He was then dragged off to Lancaster Castle, where he was put on trial and admitted his actions. He was executed by being hung, drawn and quartered on the 10th of September 1641. His head was decapitated and mounted on a spike outside of the castle as a punishment for everyone else to see. His cousin, who was living in Lancaster at the time, rescued the skull and brought it back to Wardley Hall, and that is where it's resided ever since. The skull, with its violent, horrific past and the ferocious way that its owner was killed, the ghost of Father Barlow remains trapped within it. The ghost is always seen plaguing the living with unpleasant, even deadly supernatural activity. For years, the final agonizing shrieks of Father Barlow have been heard ringing through the manor. The reason behind the screaming remained unknown at first. The skull was secretly stashed away behind a panel at the top of the stairs. Then, in the 18th century, Francis, the 3rd Duke of Bridgewater, came to live at the hall. The Duke set about redecorating his home, and it was inevitable that he would discover the skull. When he did, he was utterly disgusted, and he took the skull and hurled it into the moat. That evening, a storm like none other hit Wardley Hall. It rode for hours, terrifying the residents and the Duke, nearly flattening Wardley Hall. Francis got the message. He ordered the moat to be drained and the skull to be retrieved. It has since then been on display in its glass box. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you've seen, give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing. If you've been to any of these places and have your own experiences, or there's somewhere that you'd like us to go and tell a story of, leave it in the comments and we can have a look at it. Thank you.